She was just a maid, but her warning saved the billionaire's life. In the heart of Lagos, where skyscrapers stood tall beside dusty markets and expensive cars raced past street hawkers, there lived a man named Chief Durojaye, a wealthy and respected billionaire who owned one of the largest tech companies in Nigeria. He was powerful, proud, and known for his stubbornness, especially when it came to listening to people he considered below him. In his grand mansion covered in marble tiles and golden fixtures, worked a quiet maid named Amara. She was young, barely 22, soft-spoken, with kind eyes and a deep faith in prayer. Amara came from a small village in Enugu, where she had grown up with nothing but dreams and struggle. Her mother died when she was young, and her father had gone blind, working in the fields. It was her responsibility to feed her siblings and support her family. Worked hard every day at the chief's mansion, cooking, cleaning, and staying out of trouble. Though she was just a maid, she had an unusual gift. Amara would see dreams that often came true, not once, not twice, but many times. Her grandmother used to say, "It ran in the blood." One evening after serving the chief his dinner, Amara went to her small room behind the kitchen and fell into a deep sleep. That night she had a dream, so terrifying, it shook her to the bone. She saw Chief Durojaye driving to a business meeting in Abuja. A man he trusted was shaking his hand, but behind the handshake was a trap. The room filled with smoke, gunshots rang out, and the chief lay on the floor, blood pooling under him. Amara screamed in her sleep and woke up with her bedsheet soaked in sweat. She sat in silence, heart pounding, her hands trembling. She prayed for a sign, and when morning came, she decided to speak. Waited until the chief was done with breakfast, then quietly approached him in the hallway. "Chief," she said softly, "may I speak to you for a moment?" The chief barely looked up. "What is it, girl?" he said impatiently. "Sir, I had a dream last night," she began nervously. "I saw you going to a meeting and something terrible happened. You were betrayed and hurt badly. I don't know what it means, but please, sir, don't go today." He looked at her as if she had lost her mind. "You're a maid, Amara," he said firmly. "You clean and cook, not predict the future. I don't make million-dollar deals based on dreams." He walked away without another word, dismissing her like dust on his shoe. Amara felt her eyes well up with tears. She had done her part. She went back to her chores, praying silently for God to protect him. That afternoon, Chief Durojaye entered his private jet and flew to Abuja for the business meeting. It was a high-stakes deal with foreign investors, and his longtime friend and business partner Felix was the one organizing the event. When he arrived at the luxury hotel, everything seemed normal. The hall was set, the men in suits were waiting, and cameras were positioned for media coverage. But as he stepped into the conference room and shook Felix's hand, something felt wrong. He couldn't explain it, but Amara's voice echoed in his mind. Suddenly, he noticed Felix's hand trembling and his eyes darting toward the side entrance. As the chief turned his head, he saw two masked men burst through the door. Guns. Chaos erupted. Bullets flew, furniture shattered, and people screamed and ducked for cover. But the chief had instincts honed over decades of survival and business. In one swift move, he dropped to the ground, crawled behind the podium, and escaped through the emergency exit, running down the hallway. As guards stormed in, he was shaken, confused, but alive. Later investigations revealed that Felix had been secretly working with international smugglers and was planning to have Chief Durojaye kidnapped for ransom. When the police interrogated Felix, he confessed under pressure that he had offered $5 million to lure the chief into a trap. The betrayal stunned everyone, and it made headlines across Nigeria. Billionaire escapes assassination plot. Business partner arrested. Chief Durojaye himself couldn't believe it. He sat alone in his hotel room staring at the newspaper about the words Amara had spoken that morning. As soon as he returned to Lagos, he called for her. She came quietly, her hands folded, eyes lowered. He looked at her for a long time, then stood up and walked towards her. "I owe you my life," he said quietly. "If I had listened to you fully, I wouldn't have come so close to death." She shook her head. "It was not me, sir," she said. "It was God who showed me." From that day forward, Amara's life changed forever. Chief Durojaye promoted her to personal assistant, a position with a generous salary and dignity. She was given a private room in the main house, and uniform was replaced with office clothes. But more than that, the chief began to consult her before making big decisions. She became someone he trusted, someone he listened to, someone whose voice now held weight. News of her dream and the warnings spread throughout the city. People called her the Maid with a vision. Some mocked, but many respected her. Others from her village came to visit and saw with their own eyes how the humble girl, who used to sweep floors, was now seated in boardrooms, offering wisdom to one of the richest men in the country. Amara didn't let it change her heart. She woke up early, still prayed at dawn, still helped the other staff when they needed something. And most importantly, she remained grateful, humble and faithful. One day during an interview, Chief Durojaye was asked, "What is the biggest lesson you've ever learned in business?" He paused, looked into the camera and said, "Listen to the ones you think know nothing. Sometimes they know more than you ever will." And so the story of a poor maid who warned a billionaire became a lesson for all of Africa. A story of faith, humility, and the power of listening to even the quietest voice in the room. If you were touched by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so we can continue bringing you more inspiring African tales based on truth, faith, and heart.